गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः सच्चिदानन्दरूपाय विश्वोत्पत्त्यादिहेतवे तापत्रयविनाशाय श्रीकृष्णाय वयं नमः श्रीकृष्णाय वयं नमः सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम् वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम् वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। To be blessed, to be content, from a spiritual perspective, is the journey from extrovertedness to introvertedness, from outside to inside. And this feeling of gratitude, this feeling of contentment, acceptance, if it shifts our focus, it helps to shift our focus from outside to inside. In Sanskrit it is called pravritti nivritti. Pravritti is naturally, if you leave yourself alone, you will be attracted to things outside. You have to put a little bit of effort to bring yourself back in. And when you don't put effort, every night you go back in anyway. Knowingly or unknowingly, deep sleep means you are going back into yourself. But we don't know it. We want to know it. And for this feeling of gratitude, day before yesterday, I think it was day before yesterday, we had a talk at some Nana Nani center. There also same topic. Today we are going to take it up from a different angle. The topic here today we are taking is Dhanyashtakam. Dhanyashtakam is 8 verses on blessedness, 8 verses on contentment, 8 verses on gratitude, which leads to Prasada Buddhi. Prasada Buddhi, that where our vision has been transformed and we are able to see the Lord in and through everyone, we are able to see the Atma or the Paramatma in and through everyone. This transformation as we grow old must come about. I am also just few years behind you. So, as much as I am telling you, I am telling my mind also, hey man, get ready, you have to transform, you have to change the vision. That is called wisdom, that is called maturity. Just having white hair is not equal to maturity. Maturity, white hair is at the body level, but at the mind level, it is calmness, it is contentment. In Patanjali Yoga Sutra, not in Patanjali Yoga Sutra, in Vivek Chudamani, it is told that the 4 qualities that are required by a human being is efforts he has to put. Vivek, Vairagya, Shatka Sampatti and Mumukshutva. Vivek is discrimination between real and unreal. What is unreal? that which is not real. Simple. But more technically, that which is constant, which is never changing, is real. That which is continuously changing is unreal. What is continuously changing? What is your observation in your life? What is continuously changing? The whole world is changing. Time is changing. Space is changing. You got the space that you see now is different from the dream space. It is different from the deep sleep space. So space is also changing. Objects are changing. Everything, day and night, are changing. Breath is come. When you understand that the whole world is changing, your attention comes to the body. Body is also changing from childhood till now. Continuous change has been there. Right now also, body, the new cells are coming, old cells are dying. See, every 7 years, every cell in your body changes. It is newborn. See, breath is changing, eyes are blinking. That's a change. Sometimes seeing, sometimes not seeing. Sometimes seeing, sometimes not seeing. The thoughts are changing. The intellectual convictions and imaginations, they are also changing. Our ideas are also changing. Oh, who knows all this? I know all this. This eye is also changing. Sometimes it is the waker eye, sometimes it is the dream eye, sometimes it is the sleeping eye. Who is not changing then? So all this change that we just talked about comes in the Prakriti. It's a part of the world. Then what is the constant? Now tell me, I'll ask you a question, you have to answer. What is your world equal to? Your world is equal to Nana Nani? Is your world equal to? Tell. Huh? So you have to say loudly. I can't hear you. Very nice. She thinks she is in a mother's place. Others are feeling they are in the father's place. Others are feeling they are in God's place. Correct? But what is your world equal to? You have talked only about one aspect of your world, which is Nana Nani. There is children, there was job, there are relationships, etc., isn't it? There are aspirations. So all that is part of your world. World also makes up space, air, fire, water, earth. All that is also your world. Without that, how can you have Nana Nani? How can you have the body without that? So that is also your world. What else is your world? Thoughts is also your world. This life, which the breath is keeping you alive, that is also your world. But is this the only world that you are experiencing in your 24 hours? Or is there any other world? Dream world. Don't you experience dream? Lot of you must be experiencing. If you are not experiencing, you are blessed. If you are experiencing, you are also blessed. Because dream is nothing but unwanted data that you have collected during the day. Mind is emptying it. It's throwing it out. So that it can go to sleep. Only when it has thrown out everything, then it can become empty, and empty mind is equal to, for us, third part of our 24 hours, which is deep sleep, isn't it? So these are the three worlds that we have, the waking, dream and the deep sleep. Who knows this? You know, yesterday you were awake, yesterday you were dreaming, yesterday you were sleeping. Who knows this? Is it someone else who knows it, or you know it? I know it, isn't it? This I is different from the I which was knowing that the world is coming and going, the relationships are coming and going, the breath is coming and going. It is that constant I. so many days from childhood till now, you have lived your life. Every day there was waking, dream, deep sleep. Someone knows that every day I went through these three worlds of mine every day. That one is the constant one. That constant one is not outside of you. See? So whatever data you have in this life, it is only there to help you come back to yourself or come to the feet of the Lord. See, in Vedanta we call Brahman. You have heard the word Brahman? Brahman means the Parabrahma Paramatma. Same Parabrahma is called as Paramatma in yoga. And that same Paramatma in devotion is called as Bhagavan or Ishwar. Sagun or Nirgun, doesn't matter. See? So we are talking about the same one. And that Ishwara is the one who is functioning in and through all of you and me also. Without that Ishwara, day before yesterday this thought came, he is the Nimitta Upadana Karana. What is Nimitta? Nimitta means he is the efficient cause of the creation. That means he is the creator of the creation. And what is the material out of which you have to make the creation? A potter is the creator of the pot, but he uses the mud to create the pot, isn't it? Potter and the mud are separate to each other. But here in the case of Ishvara, Ishvara makes the creation, is the maker of the creation, and the material that he has used is himself. Now, conclusion. Conclusion is, what is the definition of Ishvara that we give? He is Satchidananda Swarup. Correct? He is Satchidananda Swarup. So, if he is made up of Satchidananda, how can he create the world which is Dukkha Swarup? It cannot be possible. It has to be Ananda Swarup. So, the whole world is also nothing but bliss. The whole world is also nothing but His grace. And therefore, the Lord's world is called as Ram Leela, Krishna Leela. Ramchandra ji was always smiling. Krishna Bhagwan was always smiling. Isn't it? But we are always having a frown on our face. We have to also transform. And for that, we must feel blessed in our life. We must feel good. We must have the gratitude towards everything that has come together from Ishvara till this earth. Everything that has come together, that space, time, objects, people, relationships, circumstances, memories, thoughts, convictions, everything has come together to make you who you are today. Have you ever gone around and said, thank you, O earth, for allowing us to walk on you every day? But in our Sanatan Dharma, that is told as Prithvi Dhrita Loka. Every morning when you get out of the bed, the first thing you do is touch the floor, isn't it? At that time, this mantra is done. Immediately, Karagre Vasate Lakshmi Karamule Saraswati, remember the Lord. That is gratitude. That Lord is not separate from us. Atmatvena, you have to remember the Lord. Then when you are taking a bath, Gange Chayamane Chaiva Godavari Saraswati Narmade Sindhum Kaveri Jalesman Sannidhin Kuru, that is gratitude towards Ganga Maya. Then you go and do your arti, etc., puja. There also you are chanting the name of the Lord. Then you eat breakfast, Brahmarpanam Brahmai, Brahmagno Brahmanaudam. There also you are remembering the name of, remembering the Ishvara. That you are the one who is picking up the food, you are the food, you are the one who is picking up the food and putting it to the mouth. That mouth is also you. You alone are the digestive fire who is digesting the food that you are. So in other words, Brahman eating Brahman. We chant all these mantras mechanically. But when we understand the meaning and then chant, transformation will take place. When you chant that mantra and literally mean what you are saying, not just do lip service because attention is on the food. When is it going to get into my tummy? See? At the right time, that Lord, by His grace, brings the hunger in your tummy, brings the food, makes you able to digest it. This is gratitude. Gratitude comes about when the ego reduces. When the ego, our mind is continuously wanting to create memories. Oh, Nana Nani is very good, I was welcomed here nicely. The memory will remain for some time. Then these people are so good. Oh, Coimbatore trip was, Yatra was very good. And naturally, by default, we keep collecting memories after memories. The rule is, more the memories, bigger is the ego. Less memories, less ego. No memories, no ego. And when there are no memories, you are the happiest. How, you will ask? In deep sleep, there are no memories, there are no thoughts. Are you not happiest in the deep sleep? Can we recreate that situation of the mind, that condition of the mind in the waking? It is possible. For that, you have to chant the name of the Lord. You have to feel the gratitude towards every person that has come into your life. You have to feel the gratitude, how the entire nature is protecting you, is nourishing you to be who you are at this moment. Did you plan that I was going to be here and you are going to listen to satsangs? If either this satsang or many other satsangs. Nature is giving you the opportunities, you are coming. Show the gratitude. Feel Dhanyosmi, Dhanyosmi. So here the first verse goes with that background. One moment. It says, Tadjnanam prashamakaram yadindriyanam tadnyayam yad upanishadsu nishchitartham te dhanya bhuvi paramartha nishchiteha sheshastu brahmanilaye paribhramantaha. He says in the first verse, and what is told here? It says that this true knowledge is that which true knowledge. Remember I said prasada buddhi. Prasada buddhi means when we go to a temple, just now I went to a temple, that tirtham which he gave, he removed the flower and he took the water in the small spoon and gave it to me as tirtham. Did I question? I hope the flower doesn't come into my mouth. Did I question what has he mixed in this colored water? Did I question it? No, neither you do, isn't it? I just took the tirtham as prasad of the Lord. As prasad of the Lord. I did not question anything. I did not complain. I did not doubt that what was given to me was contaminated. Exactly the same way. This is prasada buddhi. When we start looking at the whole life with prasada buddhi, then everything is the Lord's will, that everything is coming to you. Where you are supposed to be at this moment has been decided by the Lord. When you are supposed to get hunger has been decided by the Lord. How many breaths you are going to take has been decided by the Lord. What experiences you must have in this life has been decided by the Lord. When you are supposed to be born was decided by the Lord. When we are supposed to go out of this creation has been decided by the Lord. But we feel like superhero that we have some will between birth and death. So we are stupid. Everything is His will. Just click into His will. And once you click into His will, then the feeling of blessedness, the prasad, starts nourishing you right here and now, not afterwards, not next life. Don't wait for next life. Nobody has seen it. Right here and now. That gentleman was telling, this is heaven for me. This is heaven for me. Nana Nani. Better than Bombay. But that's not it. After heaven again you have to come back to earth. That is the rule. Then while you are in heaven, what's the next step of evolution? Mukti. So first was Viveka, that leads to Vairagya. Now you are in a wonderful place where the push and pull, the manipulation, the corruption of the world is not disturbing you at all. Everything is taken care of. Whatever deeds you have done, they have fructified into this right now. This is like heaven on earth. But what next? Next is coming here, don't complain. Living here, don't get distracted. Then what do? Then the third step in that 4 Purusharthas is, or 4 steps to realization is Shatka Sampatti. Shatka Sampatti, Shama, Dama, Uparama, Titiksha, Shraddha, Samadhan. When we control our senses, we control our mind, we endure joyfully whatever difficulties are coming in our life. And we do all these 4 with faith, with Shraddha, then there is contentment in our life. And without contentment, the 4th part of this, that is Mumukshutvam, that is not possible. Mumukshutvam means urge to liberate, to urge to unite with the Lord. This urge also is grace of the divine. It is not your will. So many, how many, 8-9 billion people are on the earth. How many are thinking of Mumukshutvam? How many have the urgency to be one with the Lord? How many even think of the Lord? So now, having come to the heaven, let's aspire for the next stage of our life. Where here only, in this body only. And that next stage is, let our senses and mind not get hijacked by the world. Because what is Swarga? You know what is the what is heaven? Swarga. It is that place where all your needs are satisfied the moment you think about it. Second, there is no fear of death. Third, there is no hunger and thirst. Fourth, there is no heat and cold. So, physical heaven has come. Now mental heaven you have to create. See? And that mental heaven is contentment in all circumstances wherever you find yourself. So he says here, so this is prasada buddhi, this is the bodha, this is the scheme that we must follow. First is gratitude, accept whatever life is giving you, take it as prasad, that will lead to prasada buddhi, and that prasad buddhi helps us to be interested in the Upanishads, in the Bhagavad Gita, in the scriptures, in contemplation, in taking the name of the Lord, so that we purify even further. So that while chanting the name of the Lord, we merge and dissolve our mind, or I should not say we dissolve. While chanting the mantra, the mind dissolves in the mantra, with the mantra. And you reach a conscious silence, and that is, and this has to be followed with firm resolve. The closer we go to the self or the Lord, more distant the world with all multiplicity is. The more closer you go to the sleep, to to that extent, all the variety of the waking and variety of the dream, they go away from the mind. They go out of the mind. They get dissolved from the mind. Without any efforts, all you are doing is thinking of the sleep. Similarly, when you chant the name of the Lord, when you contemplate on the self, automatically the entire world of waking dream, it starts dissolving away. A dissolved mind with awareness is equal to moksha. Very simple. You don't have to reach anywhere. You have reached Swarga right now. But to next stage of moksha, you don't have to reach anywhere. Because that is your nature. All you have to do is, what is coming between you and yourself? What is coming in between? The thoughts. And we are replacing the thoughts of the world by the thoughts of the Lord or the Divine. And we are taking that name of the Divine in such a manner. Vaikhari, Madhyama, Pashyanti, Para. These are the 4 stages. From loud chanting to throat chanting to heart chanting to total dissolution. And when the mind totally dissolves and you are awake, eyes are open or closed, doesn't matter. You have reached for what you were born. Human beings are not born. Our one explanation is, a human being is a person, he who has his mind under his control. He is worthy to be called a human being. Otherwise, a human being acts worse than an animal. See? So if you have been born as a human being, are you doing what is required to be done by a human being? The purpose of human being is only one, to recognize that he is not the individual, he is the infinite. Are we in that direction? Are we pursuing it? See? Once there were two Brahmins or Pandits in a village, and they were sitting and meditating. One was meditating. The good one was meditating. Or we'll call him A. We'll not call him good or bad. Call him Pandit number A. And he was meditating, Om Namo Narayanaya, Om Namo Narayanaya, Om Namo Narayanaya. And Lord says, Ananyas Chintayanto Mam, Ye Jana Paryupasate, Tesham Nityabhiyuktanam, Yoga Kshemam Vahamyaham. Correct? Means, Lord says, anyone, he or she who exclusively remembers me, to that person I take care of him completely. How do I take care? What he needs I provide, and what he has I protect. Yoga Kshema. Yoga means union. You want to unite with the world. So whatever you need, he will provide. You say, oh, I have got distracted from the name of the Lord. No. Whatever japa you have done, he will protect. You have to just start again from wherever you stopped after the distraction. See? So you chant the name of the Lord exclusively. And as we start chanting, remembering the Lord to the exclusion of everything else, then He gives us the way. He shows us the way from inside, what next to be done. Where are we going wrong in our life? Now if this particular satsang has come about gratitude and contentment, it must be, there are no coincidences in life. It must be that those who are listening here, somewhere in their life they must have thought about it. And that's why it has come to you. It is the same thing. The nature reflects whatever is going on in your mind. Just like all the people who were in that Air India flight which crashed, 272 people or 42 people, all of them came together to conclude their life in that plane. Did they know they were going to die? No. But they came together. You have all come together to listen to what? Gratitude and contentment. See? There are no coincidences. So make use of this life. Life is about, you have been born as a human being only for one purpose, and that is to unite with the divine while living, not posthumously. Dhanyosmi. In this way, when we think of the divine, we are free from the miseries of the world to that extent as much as we are at one ment with the divine theme, which is the name of the Lord. Adau vijitya vishayan madhamoharaga dveshadi shatruganama mahata yoga rajya nyatva madam samanubhuya parama vidya kanta sukham vanagruhe vicharanti dhanyaha. He says that, here he says, it's mastering the inner enemies. How do you master the inner enemies? I have already told you that by chanting the name of the Lord, but here, when we say Dhamma means, you remember Vivek, Vairagya, Shakta Sambandhi, Mumukshutvam. Dhamma means control of your senses. Don't unnecessarily get involved. Oh, let me do window shopping. Don't. Instead do God shopping. Go to the temple. Go to the scriptures. Let your senses be involved in scriptural study, in the chanting of the name, in visiting the temples. Don't see negative movies. Because at this age, the impressions are very easily formed on our mind. Consciously don't interact with such negative influences. Only choose positive ones. Then give up kama, krodha, lobha, moha, mada, matsarya. Here he says give it up. But my take of what I understand from this verse is, if you remember lovingly the Lord in your heart, automatically kama, krodha, lobha, moha, mada, matsarya automatically dissolve. How do they dissolve? I'll tell you. Again, the same example. When you think of sleep every night, whatever anger you have felt towards someone in the daytime, whatever jealousies you have, whatever ego you have, whatever arrogance you have, whatever pride you have, everything becomes a zero by itself. You don't try it. All you are doing is thinking of sleep. Similarly, this person, this Pandit number A, he was doing his japa, and as a result he has purified himself, and yoga kshemam vahamyaham, the Lord provided him food, Lord provided him whatever was required for his life, everything was going hunky-dory. The next door neighbor, he came, he saw, Arey yaar, I am also doing pujas, I am also Pandit, how come he's getting everything and I am not getting? One day he went and asked, what do you do? How come you are successful? How come there is plenty in your house and I am struggling to find even 2 meals a day? He says, you are Pandit, you do puja, but have you taken the name of the Lord? He says, all I do is sit here under the banyan tree and take the name of the Lord. So he says, if I do it, I will also get everything. He says, yes, you will also get it. So he also started, and he, in a few months, few years time, he also was satisfied with enough food, enough everything. One day, when they were both chanting the name of the Lord, suddenly Narad Muni came, and Narad Muni, he said, Narayana, Narayana. The moment Narad Muni was seen, the Pandit number B, he didn't know who he is. Pandit number A, immediately the tears started flowing from his eyes, and he looked at Narada Sage Narada, and he says, "Oh, Sage Narada, you have come. What a blessing in my life. Please, next time you go to Vaikuntha, please ask Lord Narayana how many more lives I have to live in order to attain Vaikuntha." You can take it for Kailash also. Doesn't matter. To Vaikuntha. He says, "Certainly I will do it." And they both continued chanting the name of the Lord. And after a few months, few years, whatever, Narad Muni again came. The moment he came, Pandit number A, "Narada, you have come again. That means you have brought a message for me. Please tell me, how many more lives I have to live in order to attain moksha?" He said, immediately, Narad Muni looked at number A, looked at number B. Number B was only copying number A. That was not his question. So number A said, he looked at Pandit number A's eyes, and he says, "As many leaves are there on this banyan tree, that many lives you have to live, and then you will attain moksha." And now before we come to Pandit A, Pandit B said, "My God, whole life I am doing sadhana, doing the japa. So much food is available, I eat only little, so much sleep is time to sleep, but I sleep little because I am copying this fellow, I am not living this life, and that many more lives I have to not live, only chant the name of the Lord." That gave up his japa and went back to his room. In the meantime, Pandit number A, when he hears that many number of leaves, that many lives he has to live, he went into ecstasy, because there is a definite number of leaves on the tree, it's not infinite. And he went into ecstasy, horripulations, and he started jumping, screaming, "Bhagwan has given me the answer, come on." And at that very moment, the chariot from the Vaikuntha came, and he said, "Lord Narayana has excused all the future lives. You are ready to go to Vaikuntha right now." Why? Because he did not doubt it. He accepted it. See? This is blessedness. This is gratitude. This is moksha. Feel content that whatever is required, everything is provided. Whole life, example is coming, whole life you are washing the dishes, cleaning, sweeping the floor, everything. Here everything is done, isn't it? There you go. Everything is done. You don't have to clean the outside of your building, you don't have to wash your dishes, you don't have to cook your food. I am also going to get one road here. See? So, Shatka Sampatti, contentment, be content. To be content, you have to accept everything with prasada buddhi. Continuing, such a person, when we have overcome the inner enemies, means we have purified ourselves by way of japa, by way of contemplation, then the inner enemies, kama, krodha, lobha, moha, mada, matsarya, they do not come and trouble us. They dissolve. And dissolution of the mind with all these negativities and the dissolution of the mantra is equal to moksha. Such a person, after moksha, what will happen? Don't go according to movies. Some chariot will come and you go away. What will happen after moksha? You will continue to live in this body as long as this body has to live. You will continue to feel hungry, you will continue to want to go to the temple, you will continue to do whatever your daily routine was. But now the attitude is different. the attitude of gratitude, the attitude of blessedness, the attitude that I am all that there is, and with that attitude, your vision transforms. Before it was only me. Now it is we. And it's not we because it's the same divine who is expressing in and through everyone. And therefore there are such a person who is content, who has connected with the divine, who has connected with the nature because no desires in the mind. Such a person's vision transforms, and such a person is truly blessed. Yes, all other steps, there was blessedness, but this is the ultimate, where there are no enemies, there is no hatred, because you are not available. Example is when the sun comes, there is no darkness. Correct? Darkness not possible only. You say, thank you for removing the darkness of night and giving us the light. He says, what is darkness? I don't know. From sun's point of view, there is no darkness. From a person who is truly blessed, there are no enemies. A person who is truly blessed, for him there is no otherness. There is no sense of otherness. There is no differences between you and me. So scripture says, don't show compassion, show empathy. So in this way, continuing in the third, त्यक्त्वा गृहे रतिमधोगति हेतु भूताम् आत्मेच्छयोपनिषदर्थरसं पिबन्तः वीतस्पृहा विषयभोगपदे विरक्ता धन्याश्चरन्ति विजनेषु विरक्तसङ्गाः. In the third verse, the topic that is given is attached to detach. What is attached to detach? Detached from the lower, attached to the higher. He is reminding. Then you are blessed. When you are walking up the steps anywhere, I hope you are still not always taking lift. So when you are going up, every time you take one step up, the lower step is getting detached from your foot, isn't it? Then the next step gets attached to the step number 3, and the stair number 2 is getting detached from your feet. So why is it possible? Because your attention is on the goal, which is I have to reach floor number 1. That is your goal. And when you are walking up the steps, you are attaching and detaching. You are attaching and detaching. You are attaching and detaching. Correct? In childhood, you are attached to toys. In teenage, you are attached to studies. In youth, you are attached to opposite sex. In old age, we are attached to worries. So, stop. Then what do we attach to? Attached to the Lord, attached to the divine. Attached to the divine. So here he says, and here that get attached to the scriptures. Yesterday I went to someone's house and she is reading Srimad Bhagavatam. She has read it before, but now she is reading it in correct pronunciation, just to keep herself busy. And every time she reads, she has to read the commentary also. And that is how she is programming her mind. See? We did it also. Are we doing it? Are we all doing it? Or are we talking, he did this, she did that? No. Stop. Enough. Enough of that. And when we study the scriptures, when we take the name of the Lord, you believe it or not, you will start tasting the nectar of divinity. It will start happening. How? Don't ask. Just begin. Because so many saints and sages have chanted the name of the Lord, studied the scriptures, and attained immortality. They are happy for no reason. And they say that whatever the scriptures are saying is correct, therefore we have followed that. There are so many things given in a scripture. Choose what is working for you, either knowledge or bhakti. It doesn't matter. So you also do that. So here he says that as a result of that, what will happen? Once you taste the immortal nectar of divinity, that means your mind starts enjoying taking the name of the Lord. Your mind starts enjoying delving into the scriptures. I went to Puttaparthi just now. There is one person there. 12 hours a day he studies scriptures and he attends classes. 12 hours a day. Classes are not 12 hours a day. Classes are only 3 or 4. But after every class, he takes the scripture, he takes the Shankar Bhashya, he writes the notes, and then he puts a precis, an essence of what he has understood. And in that his 2 more hours go, after every class. By the time he finishes, the next class is ready to be ready on the Zoom. So for that period of time, 12 hours, like take out lunch and dinner and breakfast if he has it. So total 14-15 hours in a day, he is engrossed in it. He doesn't know what is going out there in the world. He doesn't know if Pakistan has become India. He doesn't know if Trump is still the president of America. He doesn't know about the tariffs. Because and even if he comes to know, he doesn't have time to delve on it. He is engrossed in the scriptures. Because his attention is, I must raise the bar in my life. I've got just like you are in a heaven here, he is also in a heaven there. It's just right next to the Chitravati river. Beautiful villas are there, and all these people come to the satsang when I go there. And he doesn't come. He will come and talk to me privately afterwards. Because then after satsang, question answers go, he doesn't want to listen to it. He is engrossed in himself. But he is preparing himself for the next leap. That next leap is beyond the Swarga, which is Moksha or Vaikuntha. So such people, such wise ones who have got engrossed in the scriptures and the name of the Lord, they become immune to the world. They don't get disturbed by anything in this world. Continuing in the 4th verse, Tyaktva mamata mamatva bandhunata varaja bhogam bhaktva ja dukkharanam krutahat pracharaha Pashyanti hridya vishadam paramatma rupam dhanyastuta paramahamsa gati prayataha. In the 4th verse he says, chanting the name of the Lord with mouth, as you start chanting the name, Shri Ram, Jai Jai Ram, always chant, even if you are alone at home, always chant loudly. Never chant in your mind. Never. Always chant loudly. When your Vaikhari, loud chanting is called Vaikhari. And loud chanting is equal to the waking world. When nothing in this waking world is disturbing you, this loud chanting will automatically become. Only you will be able to hear, before other people could hear it. Arey, he is doing meditation. See, another hypocrite. People will tell, you are listening. Don't get disturbed what people say. Acha, nowadays you are doing japa after the satsang. Oh, nowadays you are going to temple morning and evening also. People will make comments. You are going for a walk, instead of talking, now you are chanting your mantra, Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, or Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Om. Every step. People are watching. They say, oh, nowadays she is not talking, he is not talking, they are chanting the name of the Lord. Hey, you are chanting. When they talk, you talk to them normally. and then say, I have to go to number one. Get away. You may not go to number one, but it's an excuse to get away. Shri Ram, Jai Ram, अपना करते रहो. You have to find ways without making other feel not wanted. Because you are here for company. That is also very important, isn't it? So, in this way, as you migrate from outside the gross speech to subtle speech, then you come here. This is the place of the dream. The Kanthakoop is the place of the dream. When you come to the dream now, your mantra has moved from the lips to the Adam's apple, and it is going. The mantra is going on. The Adam apple is moving. When this also gets exhausted, you are so engrossed, it comes to a stage called Ajapa Japa. You heard of that word? Ajapa Japa. Whether you like it or not, in your mind, the mantra will be going on. Without your will, the mind is chanting the name of the Lord. See? And when it starts chanting by itself, automatically the question comes, who is chanting the name? I am not doing anything, I am only watching. And this is called contemplation. Who is this person who is watching the automatic chanting of the mantra in the mind? This is called contemplation. So either you can contemplate, come to the state of contemplation in this manner, or you can study the scriptures where the teacher or Ramana Maharishi or our Upanishads, they say Tattvamasi. Ramana Maharishi says, who am I? Nisargadatta Maharaj says, I am that. Or Upanishad say, Aham Brahmasmi. You can think in that way, or you can chant the mantra and come to this point. Conclusion will be, both places, conclusion will be the same. And in this way, such a person is called as Paramahamsa. Hamsa is he. Hamsa, you know the quality of Hamsa, the swan, that it is able to, if you give it milk mixed with water, it drinks only the milk and leaves the water. Repeat after me now. Hamsa Shiva Soham. Like this, then Hansa will not come. Hamsa Shiva Soham. Soham Hamsa Shiva. Hamsa Shiva. Sa Shiva Soham Hamsa. Sa Shiva Soham Hamsa. Hamsa Shiva Soham. Sa Shiva Soham. Soham Hamsa Shiva. Soham Hamsa Shiva. Sa Shiva Soham Hamsa. Sa Shiva Soham Hamsa. Hamsa Shiva Soham. Shiva Soham. Soham Hamsa Shiva. Soham Hamsa Shiva. Sa Shiva Soham Hamsa. That Shiva I am. I am that Shiva. That Shiva is the Shakti. That Shakti is Shiva. Therefore, I, Shiva and Shakti all are the same. This is the meaning of that. Hamsa Shiva. Hamsa Shiva Soham. And in this way, such a person who has reached this state of Paramhamsa, which is, he is contemplating on that, he has come to that witness who is watching the mantra getting dissolved in his mind, who is observing that the waking dream and deep sleep are being observed by me without a thought. such a person is a liberated soul. Continuing in the fifth verse, Bhaikshamrutena parikalpita deha yatra dhanya dvijarasi hridya valokayanti swasvabhavatartaya nishchitamanovirapeta mohasadghashta vijita swaswarupaha. In the fifth verse he says that those who are rooted, those who are established in their true nature, and how they are established, they are not sometimes glimpsing it, sometimes not glimpsing it. No, they are completely established in it. Just like you are established in your body, I am the body. Just like you are established, I say, are you a man? You say, no, I am a woman. You are established in the womanhood. There is no doubt about in your mind that you are a woman. There is no doubt about in the mind of the males that they are men. Exactly the same way, we have to be rooted in our mind that we are of the nature of Satchidananda. We are of the nature of infinity. When you when you are rooted like this, you can never do anything wrong in life. Sun can never do anything wrong. All he knows is give light. Tree cannot do anything wrong. All it knows is give fruits and shade and accommodation to the birds and shade to human beings and other animals and fruit to the monkeys. See? Paropakar. Then your presence, a presence of a great master, a presence of a person who is steadily abiding in the divine theme by taking the name of the Lord or by studying scriptures, he becomes of the nature of light, and people want to be in that person's company. People are seeking out because they find that this fellow doesn't judge me, this fellow is always positive, this fellow is always smiling, this fellow is never shirking me away. A bud becomes a flower. It doesn't say, bees, please come and take nectar. Bees automatically go to the flower, isn't it? So all we have to do is blossom. And what is the way to blossom? We feel the gratitude, be content within, and grow. The more content we are, the more we are not distracted and focused on the divine theme, automatically you have come to a stage in your life where we were all born as buds. We are flowering, but do we have nectar or poison in us to share it with others? Share with others. See? So such people, as we go through this, such a person starts living their life on the basis of principles. Such a person does not live his life, her life on the basis of likes and dislikes, called Raga Dvesh. Raga Dvesh, I like this, I don't like that. I have created division. Principle is, everything is divine. Principle. Earth doesn't discriminate whether you are a thief, whether you are a saint, whether you are a miser. It gives you accommodation for everyone. It allows you to build a house. It allows to build nana-nanis also. See? No discrimination. The tree doesn't discriminate if a killer is coming and using its shade, or a saint is using its shade, or eating fruits. It gives to anyone who comes. We must also be like that. We must also be like that. And thus, such a person, as a result of this attitude of gratitude and contentment, practiced in this manner, transcends the worldly desires, transcends the involvement in the world, continuously only absorbed in self-contemplation or divine contemplation. then you are really becoming the flower. Continuing. नासन्न सन्न सदसन्न महन्न चाणो न स्त्री पुमान्न च नपुंसकमैकबीजं यैर्ब्रह्म तत्समनुपरिपासितमेकचित्तैः धन्या विरेजुरितरे भवपाशबद्धाः. In the sixth verse it says, as a result of this, he starts seeing the divine everywhere. He starts suspecting the divine everywhere in spite of the duality. It's just like you do. You get married to someone, you and he are separate, but you feel that we are one. You give birth to a child, the parents feel the child is just our extension. The body may be separate to us, but we feel it is us only. So his pain, that child's pain is our pain, that child's hunger is our hunger. Do we feel that about everyone? That's what is told here, that blessed are those who have realized the Supreme, and become free from all desires, and as a result of that, their vision has got transformed. As I told you before, I explained that, and that point is being made here in this verse. In the seventh verse, Ajnana Panka Parimagna Mapeta Saram Dukkhalayam Marana Janma Jara Vasaktam Sansara Bandhanam Anityam Avekshamad Dhanya Jnanasinanadavashirya Vinishchayanti. He says in the seventh verse that once the supreme divinity is realized, the Paramatma is realized, the entire world becomes a playground. The entire world becomes a garden. Nandanavana. And all the trees, all the people are deities. All the trees are wish-fulfilling trees. All the cows become Kamdhenu cows. And all the rivers, anywhere you see a body of water, it becomes Gangaji. You must have heard a Mahatma by the name of Gajanan Maharaj. You heard? So Gajanan Maharaj was born in Shegaon. Not born, nobody knows where he was born, but he is famous there. His samadhi is there. And one day he was living, one priest of the temple, he was having Bhagavad Sapta in his house, and at the end he was giving this big huge bhandara, and people were eating on a pattal, and all the food, whatever was, after eating food, whatever is left over, the servant was coming and throwing it outside the house. And in those olden times, the gutter used to go in front of the house. And this young boy, handsome boy, well built, not tall but nicely proportionate body, is sitting in the middle of all the pattal and collecting the food from all the pattal, eating himself and giving it to the dog also. And the owner, the priest, he came out and he saw, what is this disgusting, such a young boy and living such a disgusting life. And he voiced it. He says, how can you be so, don't you have any dignity? Don't you feel proud of being a human being? You are behaving like this. He says, it is prasad. He says, this is waste that has come from all the plates. But he says, it is prasad. Are you not all the devotees of the Lord? For me, the prasad from the devotees is even greater prasad. And then he went to the gutter in front of him only. He took the water from that gutter and he drank. He says, oh my God, I don't know, all the soap water, toilet water, everything. He says, no, this is Gangaji. And he picked the water Usually the gutter water is very bad. He picked it, it was crystal clear. He showed it to him. And then that same boy, when he was giving Bhagavad Saptah, he was sitting outside the hall under a tree, and from there he called him out. Hey, you made a mistake in Bhagavatam. this sloka. And then vanished from there. And this priest now, after he finished his pravachan, he went looking for him. This is how Mahatmas come into our life. So here, because for that Gajanan Maharaj, everything has become divine. Everything has become divine. No distinctions. Everything is pure. Then every action becomes a holy action or a meritorious action. Such a master, such a person who is blessed, he cannot do wrong. Actually, he is not doing. It's happening out of him. And there can be no word that he speaks. There can be no action that is seen doing. Or he cannot think any thoughts which are detrimental to the society. He brings people together. He helps people transform and come to know the divine. Such a person. Continuing, it is the fruit of all the verses. It says, Shantairananya madhibhir madhurasvabhava aire aikatva nishchita manobhirapeta mohai sakam vaneshu vidhitatma padasvarupam tadvastu samyaganesham vidushanti dhanyaha. So this is the conclusion at 8th verse. This is the conclusion of and the fruit of the 7 verses before. And here it says, the person who recites these 8 verses with devotion reaches the supreme abode and becomes one with the divine even while being in this body. Body is not written even while being, but I am adding, even while living. Realization, liberation, fulfillment, gratitude, contentment, acceptance, all this must be our attributes while living, not posthumous. Then how such a person lives in this world? Such a person lives like a mirror. What is the quality of a mirror? It reflects everything. The whole world is reflected in the mirror. It rejects no one coming from in front of it, isn't it? So it accepts everything, it rejects nothing. But it doesn't retain anything. Mirror does not create a memory of everything that it is reflecting. Our mind must become like that. By the help of contemplation, chanting the name of the Lord. Because we are still living. Saints are also living. How is their mind? They accept everyone, they reject no one, but they don't create a memory of anyone. This is Dhanyosmi, this is Dhanyashtakam. And with this attitude, when we live in our life, we will be fulfilled right here and now. Don't think to be fulfilled, I need so many years. Mahatmas have done so many years of tapasya. Fulfillment is only one breath, one thought away, one breath away, one moment away. All you have to do is become available. Be available. And all the ways of being available, this Dhanyashtakam has taught you. बोलो सियावर रामचंद्र की जय, पवन सुत हनुमान की जय, बोलो भई सब संतन की जय, सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय, गंगा मैया की जय, जमुना महारानी की जय, आज के आनंद की जय। हर हर नमः पार्वती पतये, हर हर महादेव। जय जय रघुवीर समर्थ, जय जय श्री गुरुदेव दत्त। बोलो नाना नानी की जय। ॐ पूर्णमदा पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः हरिः ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ॐ. Just sit quietly for a few moments. Let it consolidate, remain empty. Then
Hariom.